Hi guys, I'll be teaching you how to make a paddle and ball game today. So, at the end of this tutorial, you will be making this game. So the ball just bounces on the paddle, and then after that, the ball fails, the score decreases, and then it shuts down. So, let's get started. So the very first step is to import Turtle. So Turtle is basically a module that can draw things. After that, we want to create the window that actually has the game on it. So wn is our variable for turtle dot screen. So before I start, I'm using Visual Studio Code, so this is very helpful for anything you need to do, like with using coding. So I made a lot of other things, but like here we're gonna use Visual Studio Code. So our window is our screen. wn is our screen. So the title of it will be, I'm gonna call it game by then my name. So then after that, we want to have a background color. So we write BG color. So BG is basically background and then color. So then here I want to do lime green. So you can't just randomly put like blue plus green. You can't just do colors. There's certain colors that can be used, and you can just, I'll show it to you guys right here. So let's write Python turtle colors, and then you can just go to images, and there are very good images that can help you, that show you which colors you can actually use. So the one I used was this one right here. So there's so many things you can use. So like I used lime green right here. If you want to use blue green, you can just look somewhere up here. Like there's more colors. So that's the color I'm using. So then after that, you want to set up the size of your screen. So we're going to be doing 800 by 600. So it's not inches, it's pixels. So it depends on your screen, the size of your screen as well. If you have a huge screen, then it'll be pretty small for you. But my screen is pretty decent, so I'm using 800 by 600. And yep, you can put space right there if you want. So after that, I'm gonna do Win Tracer. So this actually, this can help you. This actually does shows it. So when I run it in my file, it shows the green screen. So what I'm going to do temporarily, since I didn't actually create the game yet, is turtle.screen, and then exit on click. So what this does is, when I run it, it actually it keeps the screen on until I click on the screen. So after I click on it, it goes away. So this is just a temporary code until I actually finish drawing the whole thing. So next we want to create the ball. So our ball is going to be a square. So again, ball is a variable for turtle, which is basically turtle. So now we're gonna do the speed of our turtle. So 0. This is not the speed of how fast the ball goes, this is actually the speed of how fast it's drawn. So 0 is basically instantly. So the shape of our ball is going to be a square, because when I put circle, like there were some random glitches that happened, so we're doing square here. So I want the color of my ball to be red. So I'll put red. So you can't make sure it's lowercase, otherwise it's not gonna work. So now you have to this is very important. You have to do ball.pen up, because this makes sure that when we're gonna move the ball, because when you first spawn the ball's in random location, so you want to move it to 0, 0, so which is basically the middle of the screen. So we're gonna lift up the pen, and then we're gonna move the ball, which is basically ball.go to 0, 0. See, look, I'll show you an example of turtle over here. So turtle, whatever you draw, it leaves a trail behind. So here we don't want any traces of a trail. So I'll show you an example. So I import a turtle and everything, so it draws it and leaves the trail behind, as you saw. So now we don't want that, so we lift up the pen. Now we move the ball. Now this is the actual speed of the ball. So this determines how fast the ball moves in the actual game itself. So depending on the size of your screen, it changes, and yeah. So now we're going to do the actual paddle for the ball. So we're going to go to few lines down, so paddle. And so our paddle is also a variable for turtle. And then we want the speed of our paddle to be drawn instantly. So then we're going to do 0. So now the next thing is to do the shape of it. So turtle, you can't. There's no shape as a rectangle. So we're gonna do a square, and we're gonna change the dimensions of the square. So now what we want to do is paddle dot shape square. So after we do that, we want the color of the paddle. So here I like blue. It's one of my favorite colors, so I'm gonna put blue. You can put black or white or whatever color you want. Like I showed you the list before, so you can use one of those colors. So the next, like I said, it's gonna be a square, but we don't want a square. We want like a rectangle sort of. So then we do paddle dot shape size, and then we're gonna stretch the width of it to 1, which is basically it keeps it the same. And then now we're gonna stretch the length of it to 5. So now it makes it a rectangle. So usually when I type my code, I usually just run it to see if it works, but for some reason it doesn't work, so I'm gonna type everything then run it. So now I want to move my paddle. So when I move it, the pen, I don't want to leave traces behind. So pen up. Then paddle dot go to. So our screen is 800 by 600, so I want it to go to the bottom of our screen. So I make it go to 0, 0, comma, negative 250. So negative 250 is basically the bottom of it, and this is x coordinate and y coordinate like usual. So after that, this is the part that actually moves the paddle. So we want to define paddle underscore. We're going to do paddle underscore right. So now this piece of code will move the paddle. Break out the parentheses. So here. So after that, we're using x as our paddle's x coordinate. So paddle dot x core parentheses. And then after that, we wanna, whenever we move our paddle, we're going to make it move 20 pixels. So since right is going to be going to this side, it goes up by a positive amount. So positive equals to 20. And then after we do that, we're going to do paddle dot sets x x. So now we're going to do this, which basically does the stuff. And this is where we assign it the keys to move. So here I'm going to do arrow keys left and arrow keys right. So WM, because it's our keyboard. It's not that we're not doing it anywhere else. So WM is also for our keyboard as well. So on, we do on key press. So when you click, so we want to do left right arrow. So then paddle underscore right. Okay, and then right. So this section right here is the part that tells it when you press the right key, the paddle moves to the right. So then you can just copy and paste the code and then do it again. Except here you want to change paddle dot right. So I copied and pasted it because you don't have to do it. You don't have to type everything again because it's pretty much the same. So x stays the same. The only difference here is it'll be minus because it's going to the left side. So then everything's the same except here becomes left. Oops. And then instead of paddle underscore right, it becomes paddle underscore left. So now we assign the key to our paddle. So now after that, we're gonna have score as well. So yeah, so see these hashtags right here? These mean I'm putting a comment. So the computer can't see that. Only we can see that with our eyes. So this is very good if someone else wants to read what exactly everything is doing. So our score is equal to 0 because that's how it starts. And I want to create something called pen. So our score is done. I want to create a pen for our title that actually shows the score. So we want to display the score. So pen. So pen, again, turtle dot turtle. So pen dot speed is 0 because I want it to show up, move instantly. And then I want it to display the score in black. So it actually shows very good. So black. You can choose any color you want. So after that, my pen, we have to move the pen as well. So I don't want it to leave traces behind, otherwise it'll look all messy. So I do pen up. So another thing is here our pen is writing the things. So what we did over here for the paddle, I didn't write this. So for pen we're also going to write this thing called hide turtle. So it doesn't show the pen. It only shows the writing, which is going to be player A, or player equals to 0. That's their score. So, but here we want it to actually show the rectangle. So hide turtle, and then we're going to move the pen to the top. Go to 0, 250, which is basically the very top of the screen, and this is the Y coordinate. So now we want it to actually write the stuff. So it's going to write player, let's do player score, and then displays 0. And then here, if it prints it, it's going to print it in the very top left-hand side of our screen. But we want it to print it in the middle, so we write align equals center. And by the way, I'm using Python here. I didn't tell. So now we want to have a font. So font equals to, and then you can just search up fonts. So some fonts you can have are like Courier. It's all in Google Docs. So Google Docs has a lot. So I like to put I'll put Courier because it looks pretty good. Courier. So now we want it to write 20. The size of our font is going to be 24. So if you guys used Google Docs before, this is all normal for you guys. The font name, which is over here, the font size, and then here we're going to write normal. So it'll write normally. Alright. Now we're going to create this thing called pen2. So pen2. So pen2 is again is a variable. So pen2 is going to be used in the very end. So this is actually, it's going to say game over. So I'm clearing it right now so I can just, I won't forget to put it later. So pen2 speed. So I'm going to put everything speed 0 because I don't want it to be slow. So speed 0. So after that, I wanted to display the writing game over in black. Dot color black, and then pen underscore 2. Now what we want to do is lift the pen, so when we move the pen to the middle of the screen, it won't show. Pen up, and then pen. So we don't want it to show again, so we write hide turtle, because pen2 is a name for the turtle. So then pen underscore 2, we're going to actually move it to 0, 0, which is basically the middle of the screen you guys created. So this is the most important part of the whole game. Oops. The main code for the game. So while true, we want to update the window so it actually shows our things and it actually moves it. If we don't update it, then it's like showing it just a picture. It won't actually move. So update, and then again parentheses. So now we want to move the ball. Move the ball. So ball dot set x, and then parentheses ball dot x coordinate, and then parentheses plus ball dot dx. Dx. And then I'll just copy and paste the code again because I get lazy sometimes. Except here, we don't want it to move just on the x coordinate, so we're also going to change it to y, so it moves diagonally. Because if the ball just goes straight, it'll be boring and very, very easy. Oh, I'm done. So yeah, so that's moving the ball. So now we want to create the top border, because if we don't create a border, the ball will just keep going on and on off the screen. So we don't want that. So the ball border. So if the ball's y coordinate is greater than 290, then we want it to go down again. So we do ball dot set y 290. So it sets the ball there, so it doesn't just keep floating off. So it puts the ball there. Now we want to make it go down again. So then ball dot dy equals to -1. So the reason we put y is because the ball will always go like this. So the x coordinate will always move by how much our ball is moving. But the y coordinate either goes up or down, so it can change. But the ball won't go back and forth. It will just keep going like this and like this. But the ball's x coordinate is going to be the same, so we don't pay attention to that. So when the ball touches here, the x coordinate is basically like going like this, but the y coordinate is going like this. So we're going to change it to the ball dy, the -1. So this changes the direction the ball is going. Now we want to create the right side border. So now we're going to create the border for the right. So if the ball dot here, which we're going to put x coordinate, because y coordinate is for the top and bottom, x coordinate is for the left and right. So the ball's x coordinate is greater than 290. Oops, sorry, it's greater than 390. Then ball dot set x to 390, which is basically where the ball is, and ball dot dx -1. So it changes the direction the ball is going. So next is the same thing except for the left border. So we're not going to create a bottom border because that is different from all the other three borders. So I copied and pasted it. So the left border. Now we're going to change this. Since the left-hand side is the negative side, we're going to change it to, if it's less than -390. -390, and everything else is the same. So those are the borders. So the top border, bottom border, no, the top border, right border, and left border. So the ball just hits it and bounces off. So now we want to reset the ball when it hits the bottom. So basically what this does is when it hits the bottom of our screen, it makes sure that it doesn't just keep going down. If it hits the bottom of our screen, that means it didn't hit the paddle. So if it hits the bottom, it goes to the middle of our screen. So here we go to the very top and import time. So basically what we're importing from is the library. So library has like so many things like time, turtle, you can also do Pygame. So there's so many different things. So we're going to import this thing called time. So if the ball dot y core greater than, less than -290, because it's the very bottom, so it's always going to be negative. If it's less than 290, then time dot sleep, and then 0.5. So what this does is when the ball hits the bottom, the whole program stops for 0.5 seconds. So it'll tell the person who's playing the game that you lost that point. Like hopefully they'll think that. Then score, you want to subtract it by 1 because it hit the bottom, and if it hits the bottom, then you want it to reduce it by -1 point. So pen dot clear. So like I said before, so what pen dot clear is, so this is pen. So right here, this is what our score is. So we wanted to clear that and add something else to score dot negative. Score equals -1. So what we're going to do is pen dot clear equals not. Then pen dot write. So we wanted to write player score, right, player score equals 2, and then these brackets here. So what this does is it's just unlimited. So it won't actually print these brackets, but it'll actually reduce the score over here, like here. So these are sort of like, you can take an empty space and we can fill the empty space somewhere else. So then that's that. So then format the score again. So then the format format. So now we're going to tell it that this is the score. Then comma. And then like usual align center. And then equals. I'll put here. Did I spell that correctly? Yes. Okay. So since it hit the bottom of the thing, we want it to move to 0, 0. So it goes to the center, but then it'll just stay there. So now we're going to move the ball again. So ball dot dy -1. So that's resetting the ball when it hits the bottom. Now after this, we wanted to the most important part of the game, paddle ball collisions. So paddle and ball collisions. So if the ball, you can't write the, so if the ball's x coordinate is less than the paddle dot x core plus 40, because our paddle is 40 or 50 pixels wide. So then plus 40, and ball dot x coordinate is greater than paddle dot x coordinate, in parentheses again, minus 40. So this is just one part of the thing. So this is all for the x coordinate. So if it matches the x coordinate, then something will happen. So the x coordinate again is this side, horizontal. So then now we're going to do something for the y coordinates. So we're going to write and the ball dot y coordinate oh, that's weird. Okay, so if the ball's dot y coordinate is less than -240, because it's the very bottom, and the ball dot x coordinate is greater than -350. Oops. No, it has to be ball dot y coordinate. No. Let me check. Wait, no. Oh, this is correcting the again. So that's that. Okay, so now it automatically indents because you put the code. So it knows like ball dot set y negative 240. Then after that, so it sets the ball to negative 240. That's the y coordinate, which is this section here. So it sets it to this, wherever the location x coordinate is, that's to this row right here. So then we want it to go up again. Ball dot dy equals -1. So we're almost done here. So after that's basically what happens when the ball hits the pedal. So it will start going up. But that's just going to be boring if there's no score. So then you want to add to the score as well. So then score plus equals 1, and so it's going to add 1. Now you have to clear the pen, which is basically the score. So pen dot clear, and then again parentheses, and then pen dot write, yeah, and pen dot write. Oops. Player score, and then like I did before, those curly brackets, and then again you can just copy this whole section here. So that's that. So that adds the score. And then this again makes the ball go up. So what's happening here is it bounces off the ball, and then it goes, and then the score, before it goes back up, the score gets added to 1. You might think, well, it's going to lag a little bit, but it won't, because computers are very fast. And then the last part. So remember, we did pen underscore 2 here. Well, this is for the very end. If score equals to -10, then pen underscore 2 dot pen underscore 2 dot write. I want to write game over, and then we can do the same format as well, and then a line in the center, but then we don't have to line in the center because we already did over here go to 0, 0, so it's already in the middle of the screen. Oh, there. So make sure the parentheses are good, because this first parenthesis is the parenthesis for the whole thing here, and then another one for this section here. So I'm not actually going to use that because I want to keep it very simple. But then this part you can add whatever coordinates you want to. So what I did was, to keep it simple for now, you can just do you can just do whatever the heck that number is, and then so this will just make it go off the screen, and then so that you can when you print game over, it prints it. If you make it go off the screen, then it will be like as if you're not playing anymore. So then you can do the same for the ball as well. So yeah, and that's basically it. I'll just write the title. So then this section is game over. So now is the best part, running it. Oh no. So here it says we have errors. So line 90. Time.sleep 80. This one again. So it's saying we got unexpected errors. I mean. So line 53. So align equal center. So let's see what I did. Oh, I spelled align wrong. Let's fix that for every single one now. No, I did that correctly here. Okay, so then let's run it. So now we have the game. So it bounces on the paddle, and our score goes up by 1. It bounces off our paddle, it pauses, and our score becomes 0. So our score also can go negative. So here, just wait for it to go negative. So one thing I don't know how to do is create a barrier for the paddle, because the paddle can just go on forever. So I'm trying to figure that out still. So let's just wait for it. So the reason I created it, made it this section here to make it go, where is it? The time make the whole program stop before it becomes -1 is because if the score goes -1 first and the ball starts moving again, then if I put everything before, the ball will stop right here and wait for 0.5 seconds. That won't look good. Okay, now it's this section here. So now the ball's coming down. It's -10. Now the ball and the paddle are just, I don't know, in these coordinates here, and it says game over. So that's the game we created, and hope you enjoyed the tutorial.